Okay, students. So in the last meeting, we started suspense account, and today we are going to continue the rest of the questions of suspense account. Okay, so we did till question number 3. We did till question number 3, right? Okay, now we are moving. Yesterday, in the last meeting, I gave you this question as in assignment, question number 4. So let's start. Kaylee, a trader, drew up a trial balance on 30th September 2002. It showed that the total of the credit balance was 93 greater than the total of the debit balance. Okay. So credit side is higher than debit side. Credit side is higher than debit side. So definitely there is a deficiency on the debit side. There is a deficiency on the debit side. Okay. So we'll open suspense account on the debit side. Let's open. We'll open suspense account on the debit side. Okay, it's 93. Go very simple, right? Now, a suspense account was opened with this amount to make books balance. Investigations later revealed the following errors. Number 1, the sales day book had been undercast. The sales day book had been undercast by 200. Sales day book had been undercast by 200. The same error which I taught you in the training. So in the sales day book, we only record sales, right? So when we disturb sales, that means we disturb only one side of the double entry. And whenever we disturb only one side of the entry, that means trial balance gets disbalanced. Okay. So because of this error, we can see the trial balance is out, disbalanced. So directly make the correcting entry with suspense account. Directly make the correcting entry with suspense account. Okay. So by mistake, we have understated sales. So now we are correcting it. So we'll increase the sales. It's 200. So whenever we increase the sales, whenever sales is increased, we write sales credit 200. And yes, because TB is out, so suspense account debit 200. Okay. So this is the first entry. We need to make this first entry. Okay. Now, moving forward towards point number 2, which is very easy. 3,000 paid for computer equipment. Computer equipment is your fixed asset. For use in the office, accounts office has been posted to the purchases account. Purchases is expense. So instead of asset, we book expense. So it's simply change in class of account. So my dear student, this is error of principle. Now you guys know this, but still I'm making 3 entries. Otherwise, you know this how to do it. So you should have made the entry. See, the first entry should be debit computer 3,000, credit cash 3,000. This should be the first entry, but what entry we made? Debit purchases 3,000, credit cash 3,000. Okay. Now what should be the third entry? The third entry should be debit computer 3,000 and purchases credit 3,000. Debit computer 3,000 and credit purchases 3,000. Debit computer 3,000 and credit purchases 3,000. Right? Okay. Now, third point, point number 3. 85 received from Ong Teng. Now hold. I told you many times we receive cash from debtors, receivable, then we pay cash to creditors. So this is receiving. So that means we have received 85. We have received 85 from our debtors. So we'll make the entry. See, cash debit 85, and the name of the debtor is Ong Teng. So you will credit debtor debit, cash debit, and Ong Teng credit. Cash debit and Ong Teng credit. Cash debit and Ong Teng. Cash debit 85 and Ong Teng credit 85. Okay. Now, what entry we made? Now listen. 85 received from Ongting was correctly entered in the cash book. That means cash is perfect, but was wrongly posted in the ledger. Ledger means the debtor account. Ledger means the debtor, that means Ongting account as 58. See, read it. It is recorded correctly in the cash book. That means cash is perfect, but yes, in the ledger means debtor account is wrong, it's incorrect. So we made the entry, this cash debit, cash is perfect 85, but mistakenly we credit Ong Ting by 58. So can you see this? The entry which we made, the two sides are not same, and whenever in the entry the both sides are not same, your TB is disbalanced, so you will start suspense account here. How much? 85 and 58, the difference is 27. Okay, now let's make the third correcting entry. Wait, cash should have been debited by 85, and yes, we did debit the cash, so it's perfect. Cash is perfect. Now what is the credit side? We should have credited Ong Ting by 85. We should have credited Ong Ting by 85, but we did credit with 58, so we should have credited more. So Ong Ting credit how much? 27. And yes, our objective is to close suspense account. Now the last one, which we all know, the very famous, the discount entries. The total of the discount allowed column in the cash book 160. The total of the discount allowed column in the cash book 160. Now hold. First make the first entry. The original transaction is cash discount allowed. What is the entry? First entry. Nowadays cash discount allowed goes in the sales account. So sales debit 160 and debtor credit 160. This entry we should have made. Okay, but now read the transaction. The total of the discount allowed column in the cash book 160 had been credited to discount receive account in error. Wait, can you see is there any bad thing written about debtor account? Read this line, read this point number 4. Is there any bad thing written about debtor account? No, nothing bad is written about debtor account. That means debtor account is perfect. Okay, so whenever examiner is silent about something, that thing is perfect. So that means they have booked debtor correctly on the credit side, no mistake. Okay, now read the mistake. The total of the discount allowed column in the cash book 160 had been credited to the discount received account. Instead of debiting, we credited the discount receive account 160. Okay. Right. So now see, we did credit and credit, nothing debit. So the two sides are not same. And when the two sides are not same, definitely suspense account will come. So here we'll open suspense account to balance this entry. Now let's make the last entry. How to make it? Listen. First entry we should have credited the debtor by 160, and yes, we did credit debtor by 160. No mistake in debtor account. Leave it. Now we should have debited sales one time by 160. But we didn't. Let's do it. Okay. Second thing, we should not have done anything to discount receive. But we did credit discount receive one time mistakenly. So this is our mistake. So let's correct this mistake. Now debit discount receive by 160. Okay. And finally, it's our objective to close suspense account. So let's credit the suspense. Okay, this is all done. Please check it out. Please check it out. Now listen, let's post in the suspense account. We will see it will be closed. Now in the first entry, we are debiting suspense account. We are debiting. So let's debit suspense by 200. Write sales here. Okay. In the second entry, there is no suspense account. Leave it. In the third entry, suspense has been debited by 27. So 27, the name is on 10, right? And in the last entry, suspense has been credited by 320. So 160 first and another 160. First write sales and then write discount received. So see, it is balanced now. 320, 320 done. Please check it out. Now we are just moving towards question number 5. It's very interesting. It's very interesting and more learning in this question. Now, in the previous questions, they were ready-made. In the previous question, beginning lines, it was ready-madely given by the examiner that the trial balance is disbalanced by 98, 93, sometime 200. So you simply used to open suspense account in the on the side where there is deficiency. But now you need to calculate yourself the balance of suspense account. Okay, so first thing, check it out. See, this is the question first part. V Morris prepares the trial balance. The trial balance prepares January 1997 was drawn up by the following. See, you have debtor balances. You have debtor balances, and now you need to open. Now you need to make a trial balance. First of all, we all need to make a trial balance. Okay. So I would request you all, if you must have the exam kit. But if you don't have the exam kit, just take the picture of this. If you don't have exam kit, just take the picture of this. Okay. Sorry, if you don't have my book, you can take the picture. Otherwise, keep the question with you. So by using these balances, I'm gonna make trial balance. I'm gonna make trial balance for you guys. Okay. Let me take a picture myself as well. Listen, the first name is Capital. The first name is Capital. We all know Capital goes on the credit side. So it's 25,000 credit. The second name is drawings. How much? It's 11,200. Drawings goes on the debit side. Then the third name is equipment. Equipment is asset. Asset goes on the debit side. It's 12,600. Then the next name is debtors or receivable. Debtor goes on the debit side. It's 11,900. Then we have creditors. How much? 5,340. Creditors comes on the credit side, right? Then we have stock. Stock is inventory. Stock is inventory. How much is this? It's 9,900. It goes on the debit side. Then we have bank balance. Bank balance, nothing is written, then bank is always asset. Okay. Then we have sales. 120,900. Sales is your income. 120,900. Then you have purchases. 94,300. Sundry expenses. Okay, so this was the first step. Now I invite all of you. I just use these balances. And I just used these balances and I made this trial balance. Okay, but now I challenge you guys that this trial balance will be disbalanced. This trial balance will be disbalanced. So you need to balance this trial balance. You need to balance this trial balance first. Okay, now how you gonna balance it using suspense? Okay, so let's add the credit side as well as the debit side. Let's add the credit side as well as the debit side. Let's do. I'm also doing. You guys also do it. Do it, please. The debit side is like 151,240. Just writing in the as a rough. Okay, this is 151,240. This is credit side. Sorry, now debit. It's 151,700. Now tell me which side has debit side is higher and credit side is lower. 151,700 on the debit side and on the credit side is 151,240. Take the difference. Take the difference. 460 credit. So there is a deficiency. See, open your eyes. There is a deficiency on the credit side. 460. So I already taught you this. When there is a deficiency on the credit side, then you are going to open a suspense account. $460 credit. Then you're going to open a suspense account. $460 credit. Okay, now this is same as last question. Just what is the difference? In the previous question, they used to give you ready-madely this suspense account balance. Now you calculated yourself. Now you calculated this yourself by adding up the trial balance both sides, and the side there is a deficiency, we open suspense for that. Okay, so now it's like old question, and we have few 5 or 6 adjustments with us. So we'll make correcting entry. We'll make correcting entry for that. Have a look. And then I'm going to move for the question. And now you should first solve yourself. You should first pause the recording, first solve yourself all the adjustment, and then compare it with my solution. Okay, so these are the errors. See, an item of one, this is total 7. It's total 7 now. An item of 120 had been debited twice in the sundry expense account. Read the first adjustment. An item of 120 had been debited twice in the sundry expense account. Now read slowly, go slow. Just think, they have said that we debited expense twice. The cash is okay because the normal entry of expense is expense debit cash credit, expense debit cash credit. There is nothing bad written about cash. So that means cash is perfect. Only expense is wrong. Only expense account is wrong. Only expense account is wrong. Only expense account is wrong. Okay. Now listen. What entry we should have made? Sundry expense debit 120 and cash credit 120. This entry we should have made. Okay. Now what we made, listen. We simply credit cash one time. Cash is perfect. Cash is perfect. But unfortunately, we debited sundry expense 2 times. See, 120 and one more time sundry expense by 120. This is the error. Now open your ears, open your eyes and think over it. It was written in the question. You have the question that we debited sundry expense twice. Only sundry expense is wrong. Examiner is silent about cash, and whenever examiner is silent about something, that thing is perfect. Whenever examiner is silent about something, that thing is perfect. That thing is perfect. So there is no problem with cash. There is no problem with cash. There is no problem with cash. Okay. Right. So can you see the second entry? Are the both sides same? No, both sides are not same. There is a deficiency on the credit side. And now we are going to open suspense to balance it. So it's suspense. Okay. Now let's make the third entry, simple third entry. Listen, in the first entry, we should have credited cash by 120. And in the second, we did credit cash by 120. Okay. So no problem with the cash. Now, in the first entry, we should have debited sundry expense only one time by 120. But in the second entry, we did debit 120 extra 120. That's the only error. So now let's credit sundry expense one time. Okay, and it's our objective to close suspense account. So suspense was originally opened on the credit side. So now we'll debit suspense. First, error number 1 done. Error number 1 done. Now, number 2, very interesting, and I taught you in the training. A sale to Cooper. Cooper obviously is your debtor. You sold goods to your debtor. A sale to Cooper had been correctly entered in the sales day book. Great. In the sales day book, correctly entered. That means if it is entered correctly in the sales day book, that means it has been posted to sales account correctly. That means sales is perfect. Sales is perfect. So now where's the problem? But was wrongly posted to Cooper's account as 320. But was wrongly posted to Cooper's account as 320. as 320, as 320, right? Okay. Now that means the error is in the Cooper's account only, debtors account, sales is perfect. Now student, first tell me what is the correct amount. 230 is the correct amount. And you know, when sales day book is written, sales day book means credit sales, sales day book means credit sales. Okay, so now let me teach you this. The entry which we should have made is Cooper debit, Cooper is your debtor, Cooper debit 230 and sales credit 230. This entry we should have made, this entry we should have made. Okay, but what we did make, listen, we credit sales perfect by 230, sales is perfect, but unfortunately we debited Cooper by 320. So do you think these two sides are same? Do you think these two sides are same? No, there is a disbalance. Okay, so now suspense account will come on this side where there is a deficiency. So we'll write suspense here. Okay, now let's make the third one. Let's make the third one. In the first entry, sales should have been credited by 230, and yes, we did. Yes, we did credit sales by 230. So there is no error in the sales account, but yes, there is a problem with Cooper account. Cooper should have been debited by 230, but we did debit by 320, extra 90 debit, extra 90 debit in Cooper. So now let's credit Cooper by 90, and obviously we need to close the suspense, so suspense will be debited by 90. Correct. Okay, so this is these are the first two errors, here. Number three, very famous, the most famous error. It's the fifth time it is coming in the question. The sales day book had been, over added by 200. The sales day book had been over added, overstated, over added. Very simple. So when you have just disturbed the sales day book, that means only sales. In the sales day book, sales comes. So that means you only disturb the sales. And when you only disturb the sales, that means you disturb only one side of your entry, only one side of entry. You disturb only one side of the entry. And whenever you disturb one side of the entry, your trial balance is balanced, right? So yes, by just looking at this error, we came to know that our trial balance is disbalanced. So now we'll be making the correcting entry with suspense account directly. We'll be making the correcting entry with suspense account directly. Okay, so now how to make it? Listen, by mistake they have increased the sales, they have over added the sales. So now as we are doing correction, so we'll decrease the sales. So when sales is decreased, we debit sales, sales debit, and suspense account credit, sales debit and suspense account credit. Okay, so this is error number 3, very old and very famous error. Number 4, goods costing 550 bought from James had been credited to the account of Jameson. Very basic, very basic. And IFC, it's irrelevant. This is the error of commission. Instead of James, we have credited in the Jameson. Instead of one creditor, we have credited in the other creditor account. Okay, so there is no suspense in it. There is no suspense in it. Even if we correct it, we'll increase one creditor and we'll decrease one creditor. Let me tell you the correcting entry. We should have credited James, but we did credit Jameson. So the correcting entry is now Jameson debit and James credit. Jameson debit and James credit. Not making it. Not interested in making this. Okay, so no effect with suspense. Now note number 5. Note number 5. The drawings total of 11,311 had been wrongly listed as 11,200. Very interesting. The drawings total of the drawings in reality was 11,300. In reality, look at me, this is technical. In reality, this drawings was 11,300, but we posted as 11,200 in the TB. Now look at here. See, this is the TB I made for you. This is the TB. Listen, students. Listen. Just look at here. The trial balance which I just made. I have written 11,200. I have written 11,200 in the debit side, but in the note number 5, they have clearly said that this should have been 11,300. We should have written 11,300 here. We should have written drawings as 11,300, but we did write only 11,200. That means there is a mistake on this side, only debit side. That means the debit side is decreased now. You're not getting. We all know drawings comes on the debit side, so we should have written 11,300 here, but we did write only 11,200 here. So that means the deficiency is on the debit side. So when deficiency is only on one side, see my video. When deficiency is only on one side, so definitely your trial balance will be disbalanced. So this is also the error in which we can see. That yes, the trial balance is disbalanced. So now we can directly make the correcting entry with suspense, okay, directly, because the TB is out. So now the real amount was 11,000. The real amount was 11,200, but we wrote 11,300, but we wrote 11,200. So that means by mistake we decreased the drawings. So let's increase the drawings. So now when we'll increase the drawings will be debited. Okay, whenever you need to increase the drawings will be debited. And yes, because of this error, trial balance has been disbalanced. So you will also write suspense in it. Now next, number 6, a banker's order. Banker's order means standing order, and banker's order means easy wordings. You made payment through bank, simple, through check. You simply understand. You made payment through bank. Okay. 240 for payment of Morris rent had been posted to the wrong side of the bank account. Only the mistake is in the bank. Okay, right? So we paid the rent. We paid simple go. We paid the rent. So as it is 240, so we should have made the entry. See the 3 entries. We should have made the entries simple. Rent debit 240 and bank credit 240. Rent debit 240 and bank credit 240. Rent debit 240 and bank credit 240. Okay, this should be the entry. Simply we paid the rent. Now read the whole line. Note number 6, read the whole line. Is there any bad thing written about the rent account? Is there any mistake written about the rent account? No. Examiner is silent about the rent account. And whenever examiner is silent about something, that thing is perfect. So rent is perfect. Okay. But yes, one mistake we all did. See, a banker's order for 240 for payment of modest rent had been, read it carefully, posted to the wrong side of the bank account, wrong side of the bank account. So in this entry, we should have credit the bank. We should have credit the bank. We didn't credit. Instead, we did debit. We did debit to the bank. See, this was the error. This was the error. So now use your brain. Do you think these two sides are same? The entry which we made, the two sides are same. When two sides are not same, the trial balance is disbalanced, and definitely suspense account will come. Suspense account will come. Okay. So now let's make the third one. Now in the first entry, we should have debited rent. And yes, in the second entry, we did debit rent by 240. No mistake in rent account. But yes, listen to me. In the first entry, we should have credited the bank. We should have credited the bank. We didn't credit the bank, first error. We didn't credit the bank, first error. Instead, we debited the bank. So this is the second error. So this is the double error. Okay. So now we will, it's double mistake. So double amount. So we'll credit bank by 480. And yes, we all know we need to close the suspense. So suspense will come on the opposite side. Take your time. Number 7, goods 70 pounds taken for own use. Goods 70 pound taken for own use. That means this is called goods means stock inventory taken for own use. Stock drawings, stock drawings, stock drawings. Now wait, let me make the first entry. The first entry for stock drawings is, listen, I taught you this recently. Drawings debit. See, this is the entry. Drawings debit 70 and purchases credit 70. Drawings debit 70 and purchases credit 70. Drawings debit 70 and purchases credit. This entry we should have made. This entry we should have made. Now see what we actually made. Goods taken 70 for own use for Morris has been entered in his drawings account. Perfect, has been entered in the drawings account, but no other entry had been made. Excellent. Only they debit the drawings, but they forgot to credit anything. Only one side entry they made. See, they only debited the drawings. They only debited the drawings. They only debited the drawings, but they didn't credit anything. They only debited the drawings, but we didn't credit anything. They didn't credit anything. Okay. So that means half entry they made, half they didn't make the half entry. So can you open your eyes? Can you see the in the second entry that both sides are same? No. When both sides are not same, that means the trial balance disbalance. So you need to open a suspense account. Okay, now very easy, extremely easy. Make third entry. Right, drawings is perfect in the both entries, no mistake. Yes, in the first entry we should have credited the purchases, but we didn't. So let's do it. We should have credited purchases by 70, but we didn't. Yes, and now this is our objective, to close suspense account. So let's close it. Okay, So we did almost all, we discussed all errors here. We discussed all errors here. So now first thing, go easy. Let's do the same work which we were doing in the last question. Let's post this. Let's post this thing. Okay. So first close the suspense. In the first entry, suspense is being debited. See, suspense debit by 120. Let's do it. Suspense account debit by 120. We'll write here sundry expense. Okay. In the second entry, suspense again debit 90, Cooper credit 90. So suspense debit. So we'll write 90 Cooper. Okay. In the third entry, we have sales debit and suspense on the credit side. Suspense on the credit side. So we'll write 200 and here sales. Okay. In the fourth entry, drawings debit and suspense credit. Suspense on the credit side. So we'll write 100 and we'll write here right. Then in the fifth entry, suspense on the debit side 480. We'll write bank. Okay. In the seventh entry, this was sixth. Okay. In the seventh entry, suspense again on debit side. Now please check it out. Check it out. This should be 760. See, and this side also, if you add 760. So yes, we simply balance the suspense account. We simply balance the suspense account. Our first objective achieved. Our first objective achieved. Okay. This is like all what we did before. All what we did before. This is same like we did previous questions. Okay, now one more thing, very interesting thing. Listen. Just see the correcting entries with red pen. See, in this correcting entry, see, sundry expense is suspense debit and sundry expense credit. See, in the correcting entry, we are also correcting the sundry expense. Sometimes we are correcting the debtor. Sometimes we are correcting the sales. So this, listen to me, this correcting entry should be posted in the trial balance as well, because we need to correct these numbers. Just think, when there is an error in the sundry expense, so we need to correct in the sundry expense account as well. Not only in the suspense account, it's a correcting entry is a double entry, correcting entry is a double entry. So that means these numbers were also wrong. Sundry expense was also wrong, debtor was also wrong, sales also wrong, drawings also wrong. So let's correct it in the trial balance. Let's correct it in the trial balance. Now please open your eyes. In this first correcting entry, we are crediting sundry expense. When expense goes up, we debit it, and when expense goes down, we credit it. Okay. So now let me fix the trial balance. Now I'm going to fix C, where sundry expense is written here, and in the correcting entry, sundry expense is on the credit side. So we will reduce C minus 120. See, I'm correcting it, minus 120 in the sundry expense. Okay, minus 120. Don't forget. And one more easy way I'm teaching you. See, in the trial balance, sundry expense on the debit side. In the trial balance, sundry expense on the credit side, but in the correcting entry, it was on the credit side. In the trial balance, sundry expenses on the debit side, but in the correcting entry, it was on the credit side, opposite side. So you should do less, subtract. Okay. Now second entry. See, suspense, debit, and Cooper. Cooper is your debtor. Cooper is your debtor. See, debtor has been credited. When we credit debtor, we reduce it. Okay. Come to the debtor. See, this is the debtor. So you will write minus 90 here. Minus 90 here. Okay. One more evidence. Right now in the trial balance, debtor is on the debit side. And in the correcting entry, that debtor Cooper was on the credit side. So opposite side, simply subtract. Same side, add, opposite side, subtract. Now, third one. See, sales, in the third entry, sales is being debited. Sales is being debited. Listen, listen, listen. So when we debit sales, that means you reduce sales. When you debit sales, that means you reduce sales. One more evidence. In the trial balance, sales is on credit side, but in the correcting entry, it was on the debit side. In the correcting entry, it was on the debit side. Okay. Number 4, drawings debit and suspense credit. Drawings debit and suspense credit. So drawings already on the debit side. See, drawings already on the debit side, and in the correcting entry, we are debiting it. So let's add it. Okay. And when you add it, it will become 11,300. Just think, when you add it, it will become 11,300. So now question number, adjustment number 6, bank on the credit side. Bank credit means reducing bank. Bank credit means reducing bank. See, already bank on the debit side. So let's subtract as 480. Okay. Now next one is, yes, purchases credit. See, this is the entry. Purchases credit means reducing purchases. So purchases already on the debit side. Let's reduce it by 70. Let's reduce it by 70. Let's reduce it by 70. Okay. So now we have just posted, corrected all the correcting entries in the trial balance. Now listen my challenge. Now add both sides, net of both sides. You will see a balanced trial balance without suspense. You will see a balanced trial balance without suspense. Let's do it. Let's do it. This side is 1151040. You guys also tried. Now let's do debit side. Yes, it's balance. See, 1511040, it's done, balance. So this question is completed now. This question is completed now. Okay. Okay, so what we did in this question, let me recall. First of all, these ledger balances were given. We made the trial balance, and that trial balance was not balanced. So the side where there is a deficiency, we opened suspense account. We opened suspense account there, right? And then we solved these all 7 errors. We made the correcting entries. We posted those correcting entries in the suspense account, and we found this, that suspense account is closed now. Okay, and finally the red pen entries, the correcting entries, we also posted on the trial balance, and we corrected the balances. So we got a balanced trial balance now finally without suspense. So it's all done, it's all done, it's all done. Now, one last question I want to discuss of today's class. Listen, see this suspense account. What we are doing since the first question, that we get, listen, we get this thing ready made. We get this thing, this opening balance already given in the question. Is this opening balance already they gave you in the question? And what you do, you write the opening balance, and then you make the entries, correcting entries, then you post it, and you close this suspense, you close this suspense. Okay, this is the routine question. Now one more question they may ask. Sometime, look at here, they simply hide this opening balance. They don't give you this opening balance. The opening balance of the suspense account is missing in the question, and they directly give you the entries. They directly give you the adjustments. So what you do, listen, you make the entries, correcting entries, the red pen entries all, and then you post all these entries. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you made all these entries, and now you calculate it through balancing figures. See which side is heavier. This debit side is 760 minus this and this, you will get this number, you will get this number. So it's not difficult. Now you need to calculate opening balance through a balancing figure. You need to calculate opening balance through a balancing figure. Okay, so let me give you one question for this. Yes, start this. Question number 11. One help I would like to do, little help. Listen, in this point number 2, a credit note of 140 received from F carry. We have received credit note. That means we are buyers. So in the buyer books, we make purchase return. We book purchase return. So this is a purchase return entry. Had been entered correctly entered in the appropriate sub journal. Appropriate journal means appropriate the journal of purchase return is purchase return day book. So that means it is posted correctly in the purchase return book. Okay, it is posted correctly in the purchase return book. When it is posted correctly in the purchase return book, that means purchase return is perfect. So only error in the carries account. Carries account means creditors account. Okay, so try this, and you need to calculate the opening balance. Very easy question, just three quick things. Do it, please. Question number 11. Try it, very easy. Okay, our trial balance. Let me make a suspense account first here. Now, we need to calculate opening balance. A sale of goods worth 910 to JD. Okay, credit sales. Do it. JD is your debtor. JD debit 910 and sales credit 910. This should be your entry. Okay, but what you did had been correctly entered in the sales journal. Had been correctly entered in the sales journal means sales daybook, means sales is perfect, sales account is perfect, no error in the sales, but had not been posted to lease account. We forgot to post it in the debtors account. So that means CC, easy. We just booked the sales, but we forgot to write anything on the debit side. We forgot to write anything on the debit side. So now see the entry, it's disbalanced, both sides not same. So definitely suspense account will come here. Okay, now what is the third entry? The third entry should be JD debit. Now point number two, let's do it. A credit note of 140 received from F carry. We received the credit note. That means we are buyers, and in the buyer books it's purchase return. So now let's make the first entry of purchase return. Listen, purchases is your expense, so purchase return is your income. So the name of the creditor is F carry. So we'll write creditor is your F carry debit, liability debit 140, and purchase return credit 140, liability debit 140, and purchase return credit 140. Okay, now what happened? A credit note of 140 received from F carry had been entered correctly in the appropriate journal, means purchase return journal. Purchase return book, it is perfect. That means purchase return account is perfect. No mistake. But had been posted to carry's account, means creditor's account as 410. So mistake only in the creditor's account. Now let's see. Do it. So the purchase return is perfect 140, but yes, mistakenly they wrote F carry as 410. So students, can you see, are the in the second entry, are the both sides same? No, the both sides are not same. So definitely suspense account will come. How much is this? 270. Okay, now the third and the easiest entry for you guys. uh Purchase return is perfect. In the first entry it's 140, in the second entry is 140, no error in the purchase return account. Okay, so leave it. Now F carry should have been debited by 140, but we did debit F carry by 410, so we debited F carry extra. So now we'll credit F carry by 270, and obviously we need to close the suspense account. Student, now it should be very easy for you. It should be easy. We have done a lot of practice now. Now the last error, last error. Okay. This is the famous entry again, discount allowed of 190. Okay. The original transaction is discount allowed. Original transaction is discount allowed, cash discount allowed. In discount allowed means we are in seller's book. So the original entry should be debit sales 190, credit debtor 190. Okay. This entry you must know now. It's been long now. So sales debit and debtor credit, sales debit and debtor credit. Read the whole error. Read the whole error. Is there any bad thing written about debtor? Is there any bad thing written about debtor? No. The debtor is perfect. Debtor is perfect. Okay. So that means we wrote debtor on the correct side, that is 190 credit. Now see the error. What is the error? See this, please. Discount allowed 190 had been wrongly credited to discount received account. No entry had been made in the discount allowed account. So instead of debiting discount allowed, we credited discount received by 190. So just look at here, the entry which we just made, we only did credit, no debit. So the both sides are not same. So suspense account will open here. Now let's make the third entry. Let's make the third entry. In the first entry, we should have credited debtor, and we did credit debtor. So debtor is perfect, no issue. Now, in the first entry, we should debit sales only by 190, one time by 190, but we didn't do it. We didn't debit sales. So let's correct the first mistake. So sales debit 190, first mistake done. Number two, we should not have done anything to discount received, but yes, we did credit discount received by one time. We mistakenly credit discount received by one time. So let's correct this error also. Discount received debit. And obviously now, as our objective is to close suspense account, so we'll credit okay. So this is how we'll move. Okay. So are all three errors done? All three errors done. Let's post it. It's time to post it and calculate the opening balance. Okay, so the first entry, JLE debit and suspense credit. So we'll credit suspense by 910, we'll write JLE. Okay. In the second entry, suspense debit, F carry credit. So we'll debit suspense by 270, we'll write here F carry. Okay. In the third entry, suspense is credit. So 190, 190. One time I'll write sales, one time I'll write discount received. Okay. So I think this credit side is heavier and debit side is lesser. So it's 910 and 380. 910 plus 380 is 1290. This side is heavier. Same, right? 1290 here. And now you will have a balancing figure here. $1020 on the debit side. Okay, so this is the end of your question. This is the end of your question. Now you have giving you some, do this question number 8, Nelson. Do this question number 8, Nelson. There is some error sometimes in the note number 5. I think in our new book we have corrected it, but still in the note number 5 this is written a sales ledger. Cut this account and write a creditor. Okay, in note number 5 it is written a sales ledger. This word will be a creditor. Okay, now and this stock is not 7339, it's 7330. Okay, do remember, if you do, maybe in our new book we have corrected this error, but still on the just on the safe side I'm telling you. So this is the question number 8, Nelson. You have to do it. It's like same V Morris we did today. First you need to make the trial balance and then suspense and everything. Then you need to do this question number 7. Just skip this point number 4. This point, no need to do this point number 4 at all. No need to do this point number 4 at all. I repeat, in question number 7, just skip, do it without point number 4. It's not for you right now. Okay, then question number 6, Wheelie. Yes, same question as V Morris. This question number 6. So your assignments are question number 6, 8 and 7. These 3 are your assignment. 6, 8 and 7 are your assignments. Okay, so please do it. It's from my book. Take care.